Hello, and welcome to this Flutter update. I'm Chris, and I'm here with my friend Zoe. Hey, Zoe!
Hi, Chris, and hello all.
Zoe and I are product managers on the Flutter team, and today we've got an update on building Windows apps with Flutter that we're excited to share with you. We're also going to be diving into the architecture of Flutter to support Windows, and then doing some coding. And finally, we'll show off what partners are doing with Windows. So, lots of Windows today. As you may already know, Flutter is an open source framework sponsored by Google for building beautiful, compiled, multi-platform apps from a single source code base. With Flutter, we want to give you the tools you need to build a great experience that's portable across multiple platforms. Flutter allows you to create beautiful experiences where your brand and design identity come to the forefront. Flutter is fast, compiling your source code to machine instructions. It's also productive, thanks to our support for hot reload, allowing you to make changes while your app is running and see the results immediately. And finally, Flutter is open, with thousands of contributors adding to the core framework and extending it with a huge ecosystem of packages. And there are already millions of developers using Flutter. In fact, it's the most popular multi-platform framework according to recent surveys from Statista, JetBrains, SlashData, and Stack Overflow. Collectively, these developers have published nearly 500,000 mobile apps using Flutter. That includes big apps from brands like BMW and WeChat and Google itself. It also includes next-gen apps from startups who want to reach their iOS and Android users quickly and easily from a single source code base. Now, 2 years ago at our Flutter Interact event, we shared our vision to expand Flutter from mobile apps to include the desktop. And you took our vision and ran with it. Let's take a look. Now, of course, if we're going to focus on the desktop, we have to start with Windows, which runs on more than 1 billion desktop computers. And so today marks a significant milestone for our desktop vision with the stable release of our Windows support. This enables Windows developers to benefit from the same productivity and power that mobile developers have already been enjoying with Flutter. And there's a lot that carries across to the desktop from our experience on iOS and Android. From the portable hardware-accelerated graphics engine to the Flutter rendering system, core primitives like animation, theming, text input, and internationalization, the hundreds of widgets that Flutter includes, as well as thousands of packages from the community ecosystem. But if that's all we did to make Flutter apps run on the desktop, that still wouldn't be enough. Even though it's the same source code, desktop apps aren't just mobile apps running on a bigger screen. They're designed to run on a completely different set of hardware. A monitor, a keyboard, a mouse, all of that provides a completely different user experience. Beyond that, every operating system has its own conventions for critical things like accessibility, input method editors, and visual styling. And finally, great desktop apps integrate with the underlying operating system, taking advantage of the tens of thousands of APIs for everything from file system pickers to device hardware, to local data stores. If you're building for Windows, then we've now got an offering for you that takes all of these considerations to heart. And to tell you more about our Windows-specific support, I'm going to hand it over to Zoe.
Thanks, Chris. Let's take a look at how Flutter works on Windows. The Windows implementation of Flutter builds on the work that we've been doing for the last 4 years on mobile and web. Just like on other platforms, on Windows, your app runs using a native platform embedder. The embedder is the shell that hosts the Flutter content and interfaces with the rest of the operating system, including user input, rendering, and message handling. In addition, Flutter's architecture allows you to call any of the thousands of Windows APIs offered through Win32, COM, and the Windows Runtime, or WinRT. On top of the embedder is the engine, a small runtime that provides your app with the Windows implementation of the Skia library, which does the GPU-accelerated drawing. The engine also includes the Dart runtime and the text rendering libraries. This is the same engine that runs at top speed on much smaller mobile devices, so it has been tightly optimized for years. The framework sits on top of the engine and provides the core animation, layout, and rendering services of Flutter, as well as the widgets against which you write your code. The framework also provides the widgets and the design system that gives your app its look and feel. You can choose from several widget libraries. The material design system can be fully customized to give your app a consistent UI across multiple platforms. Or, if you'd like to provide a native Windows look and feel, you have all the widgets you need to build a beautiful app that uses the Fluent design system. One option for doing that is the excellent Fluent UI package provided by the community, as well as the Fluent UI systems icon package provided by Microsoft themselves. However you want your Flutter app to look on Windows, you have the power you need. The real question is, how hard is it to take advantage of that power when targeting Windows with Flutter? And there's only one way to answer that question. Chris, can you show us what it's like to build a Flutter app on Windows?
You bet, Zoe. I'm happy to. Let's start by creating a Flutter project. Okay, and let's see what we have. So each new Flutter project is going to have a sub-project for each one of the supported stable platforms that comes with Flutter. And as of today, we add Windows. Let's open it up in Visual Studio Code and see what we get. We have a new Windows app, but a pretty famous one. This is the Flutter Counter app, and it works like a Windows app should. We're also running under the debugger right now, which provides all of the debugger services and breakpoints and evaluation, and it also provides the Flutter Dev Tools. So let's load those up. If you're unfamiliar, the Flutter Dev Tools are the complete suite of debugging and diagnostic tools that you use when you're building real-world applications with Flutter. All these tools work great for your Windows app development. So I'm loading up an application called Photo Search. The idea of Photo Search is it's meant as a sample app to take advantage of more desktop kinds of features, menuing system and larger form factor and standard dialogues. So what we have here is another Windows app, but you notice that it is styled using the material design language. And that's pretty easy to see with the app bar and the floating action button here. However, today, what we're going to do is we're going to see how much we can make this Flutter app look and feel like Windows. We're going to take advantage of a library from the community that provides an implementation of Microsoft's Fluent UI. And so we're using this community-provided library, and we're going to change out the UI of our app. And what we're going to actually do is remove the reference to material and instead use Fluent. And so when we change to Fluent, we don't want to use a material app. We want to use a Fluent app. We're going to take out the reference to the material theme, fix up the const here a little bit. Fluent doesn't have a scaffold. It has a container. It doesn't have a background color. Instead, it has color. We'll take out the app bar. We'll take out the floating action button. We'll actually take out the reference to the action button, and we'll update the colors here a little. Okay, now let's go back. Notice that we're running our application while we're coding it, and that allows me to go quickly back and forth between the changes I make in my editor and what actually shows up on the screen. So now let's do a search. This dialog isn't right for Windows. For example, the buttons are in the wrong order. And when I press the Enter key, I expect one of them to be a default action, but I can't tell by looking at the buttons which one I'm going to get. So let's fix that. Let's load up the dialog implementation. And again, we're going to replace material with Fluent. And instead of an alert dialog, we've got a content dialog. And instead of a text field, we've got a text box. We'll get rid of this material decoration. Our buttons are in the wrong order, so let's fix that first. And we have some casing problems, so let's fix that. We want an actual button with an outline, so let's change that. Here we want a filled button, just to make it clear which is the default button. And notice right away, without recompiling or reloading my app, all my changes are right there. That is the power of hot reload in Flutter. There we go. I have a nice tree view that looks good with my blue background. I press on the photos and download them. Turns out there are a ton of packages and plugins and tools on PubDev that allow you to make your Flutter app look and feel like a Windows app. But if I wanted to, I could have a custom title bar, I could have a taskbar icon, I could even have multiple top-level windows if I wanted. But eventually, when I was done, the next thing I would want to do is ship my app to my users. And before I can ship my app, I have to have a release version. We want the smallest, lightest, fastest thing that we can give to our users. And that's what a release build is for. So let's see what we get. We'll see right away that we have a native executable, just like we would expect, except it seems kind of small. This executable is just all of your Dart code compiled into x64 assembly language instructions. It doesn't need to be very big. A lot of what you'll get in Flutter is coming from the runtime. But even so, this is a small app. And so when we double click it, and it started really fast, we call this zero latency startup. And it is one of the benefits you get with Flutter. Its tiny engine has been optimized and minimized to run on mobile. So when you bring it over to the desktop, you get a much smaller, faster experience than you might otherwise get. And at this point, if you wanted, we could zip up the contents of this folder along with some support DLLs that we document on flutter.dev. We have an enthusiastic Windows developer community for Flutter, and they have already provided a wonderful tool called the MSIX tool. Now, MSIX is a file format that Windows supports out of the box for setup, integrating into the start menu, uninstalling. So let's build an MSIX with this tool. Now, the way we do that is we take our pub spec and we add a little bit of extra configuration information. And once we have this information in place, we can run this tool to create an MSIX. And what it's doing is it's taking the contents of our release folder that we already showed you and bundling it up into an MSIX file. And here it is. It's about 10 megabytes. This is the thing that you can put up on your website and send links to, and your users can download and execute. And then this is the experience they'll get. And when I press the install button, it's going to take the files and copy them to the right folder on Windows. It will execute your app by default. Notice again how fast it went. Notice it's in the start menu. Or if we look in the apps and features dialog, notice we do a search and we see our app is there. And the other good news is this exact same file format is all you need to get into the Windows Store, which gives you the additional functionality of discoverability and updates as you change your app over time. And there you have it. We went from nothing to a generic desktop app, and then from a generic desktop app to a Windows app suitable for distribution on the Windows Store. And we did all of that in just minutes. Along the way, we took advantage of some of Windows plugins, but there are so many more. In fact, there are already more than 200 Windows-specific plugins, along with more than 10,000 Windows-compatible packages that you can drop into your Windows apps today. To call out just a few, there's the file selector, which enables the file and folder standard dialogues on Windows. There's the Win32 package, which provides FFI bindings for literally thousands of Win32, COM, and WinRT APIs to make it simple to take advantage of Windows services directly from your Dart code. And then there's Realm, a super fast local data store that has a Flutter SDK in preview today. And the best part, it supports Windows as well as iOS, Android, and macOS. So you can use it in your cross-platform apps. And then there's the camera plugin, which you can see in action here. There's Tom from CodeMate demonstrating their Dashcam app for Windows. And it's not just packages and plugins, but tooling support as well. As you've already seen, Flutter DevTools provides a host of advanced debugging tools for your Windows apps. And our tooling partners are adding Windows support as well. As just one example, Flutterflow, the low-code Flutter app design tool, supports desktop-sized form factors and Windows specifically. And another Flutter tool that's been updated for Windows is the CodeMagic CI/CD tool from Nevercode. It supports testing and building your Windows apps in the cloud, as well as deploying your app all the way to the Windows Store. You can take advantage of their Windows support today. Okay, Zoe, I think that covers the basics of targeting Windows with Flutter. Back to you.
That was great. Thank you, Chris. As Chris showed, when you build your Flutter app on Windows, you expect to have complete control over every pixel, just like you do on any other platform that Flutter supports. You want your choice of animations, control over the theming, smooth scrolling, access to a wide array of font choices, and the list goes on. And when it comes to taking maximum advantage of Flutter to build rich, interactive experiences, there's no one better than our longtime partner, Rive. And today, we have Guido from Rive to show us how they're building on Windows.
Hi, I'm Guido, the co-founder of Rive. Rive allows creators to add rich, animated, interactive content to their products, while providing open source runtimes to deploy to a wide variety of platforms. With Rive, designers and developers collaborate to make apps, websites, and games stand out with animated user interfaces and hero moments that inform, guide, and engage. Data visualizations that shape narratives around complex information. Animated icons, stickers, and emojis that help convey human emotions across digital channels. Rich characters like assistants, mascots, cartoons, heroes, and villains. 1 year ago, we released Rive for the Web, giving everyone the power to create interactive animations in their browsers. But our pro-level designers and developers need the highest quality app and the fastest possible performance. So today, we're excited to announce Rive for Windows Desktop. We use Flutter to build our desktop app for Windows, avoiding the legacy dependencies that come with browser-based platforms. Flutter widgets provide a great starting point for our UI layout management and interactions, while also giving us the opportunity to easily customize the application experience for our specific needs. Flutter provides a truly native experience, with Dart compiled to machine code for each desktop platform, leading to efficient memory usage and low overhead for all CPU operations. This puts the best possible performance in the hands of Rive professionals on Windows desktop and tablet computers. Leveraging Flutter and CodeMagic, we can deploy straight to the Microsoft Store, giving our users a standardized installation experience, easy updates, and confidence in the app's security. Check out this complex file we've got running in Rive for Windows. We have multiple artboards that all have their own animations. We then use nested artboards to create a rich scene. It's running all the separate animations at the same time, but we have more animations in this scene, which we can run in conjunction with each other using our state machine. As this state machine is running, you can see that we can interact with the inputs and make all the various animations and nested artboards react in real time. While it's running, we can quickly pan around the stage, zoom in and out, and even resize the entire window without skipping a beat. This is the power of Rive for Windows Desktop built with Flutter. Look for Rive in the Microsoft Store soon. We're so excited to see what you create with it.
Rive has done an amazing job of not just providing a Windows app that looks great and utilizing what makes the desktop unique. They've also done a great job integrating their app into the services of Windows itself. You may have noticed their custom title bar to provide a modern look, as well as taking advantage of those otherwise neglected pixels. Moreover, they integrate with the file systems, the standard dialogues, and install like any other Windows app. And you will want to look for the Rive app in the Windows Store. In addition, the Windows embedder for Flutter automatically integrates with services like global text input, so your Windows apps are global ready. Here you see the Windows input method editor in action using the standard Flutter text field. Also, Flutter is committed to supporting you in making your apps more usable, inclusive, and accessible. Now let's take a listen to what the Windows narrator can do with standard Flutter semantic info to provide a more accessible experience for your users who are visually impaired. We've blurred the image a little, just to give you a sense of how important this feature is to users who need it.
Desktop photo search window, Flutter view, pane. Search for photos using the Fab button. Search for a photo button. Alert, search query, edit. Cap Y, A, S, A, K, A. Cancel button. Search button. Yasaka. Photo by Cosminserban button. The Hokanji Temple or the Yasaka Pagoda in Kyoto during sunset, image. Photo by Cosminserban on Unsplash button. Download button.
One other differentiator for a native desktop app is performance. Because Flutter apps on Windows are compiled to native x64 assembly instructions when you create your release builds. Those apps are going to have a small distribution size, launch with zero latency, run at native speeds, and with a memory overhead measured in megabytes, not gigabytes. This lets you tackle large data sets while still taking advantage of the rich animations and smooth scrolling you expect from Flutter. To show off the raw performance of Flutter on Windows, let's hear from Hannah what Rose has done in their next-gen spreadsheet.
Hello there, I'm Hannah, and today I'm excited to share how we are using Flutter to create the future of spreadsheets here at Rose. So, what's Rose? Rose is a spreadsheet with superpowers. It combines the power of spreadsheets with built-in integrations and a gorgeous sharing experience. This means you can send emails, send Slack messages, get data from LinkedIn, monitor crypto prices, all of that without code. And when you're ready, you can share this spreadsheet as a beautiful web app that's fully responsive and make it interactive with things like buttons, input fields, and a lot more. Rose is already live as a web app that has been in the making for some years now. But in 2021, we decided to create our own desktop app. We started this project with one principle in mind: performance. Creating a smooth experience that felt natural for the millions of people that use spreadsheets every day, and keeping a pixel-precise scrolling while handling thousands of cells with the most frames per second as possible was the thing that would drive our technical choices for this product. A spreadsheet can have hundreds of columns and thousands of rows, resulting in possibly millions of cells. Following that, we obviously have scrolling in both directions. This alone is a huge performance compromise, but the challenge doesn't stop there, as each cell can contain all different types of content. For example, numbers, formulas, charts, and even entire JSON objects. Another important factor for us is directly tied to our mission: create tools that make computation accessible to everyone. The value of deploying to multiple platforms was absolutely fundamental for us. There were three possible ways of creating the app: an HTML-based toolkit, fully native, and Flutter. And after considering these two factors, multi-platform and great performance, Flutter was not only a great choice, but the only one to fit the bill. And time proved how great that choice was. We worked on a sliver-based grid engine that can scroll outstandingly smooth. In normal scenarios, we can easily go to 60 frames per second. Even in 4K screens, where we have more than 3,000 cells in each scroll frame, we go for a comfortable and understandable 30 frames per second. Animated selections takes the best of the Flutter intrinsic animations to deliver a great user experience, while the formula composition takes the Flutter text editing system to an extreme, using text spans for highlights. And each cell takes advantage of the canvas to paint all possible types of content. You can try the Flutter version of Rose right now, as the beta for Windows and macOS are available for download at the Rose website. And we plan to ship an iPad version soon. Thanks to the Flutter team for the awesome job and for having me. Bye!
After seeing the amazing work that Rose and Rive have done to support Windows, and then the ease with which Chris was able to target Windows, we hope that you see how we've taken the power of Flutter and integrated closely with the world's most popular desktop operating system, giving you the best of both for your apps. And we're not done yet. In the coming months, you will hear more from us on delivering stable support for macOS and Linux, making the full set of desktop, web, and mobile platforms available for your production Flutter apps. Okay, so how do you get started with Flutter on Windows? All you need to do is install Flutter 2.10, which is released today at flutter.dev. If you're an existing Flutter developer, you'll be happy to know that Flutter 2.10 includes a number of new features, as well as performance and quality improvements. Check out our blog post, which covers those changes in more detail. We can't wait to see what you're going to build with Flutter 2.10 on Windows. Thanks for watching, and bye now.